So, The Amazing Digital Circus Episode 6 finally released, and obviously it was incredibly good. My theories weren't exactly on point, but something else very interesting happened. This scene here, which has had tons of debate from the fandom. So today, I'm going to be explaining everything about it. Did that look good? It better have. Welcome back to the Amazing Digital Circus Conspiracy Board. This is where I go insane. Consistently, every day, for the rest of my life. Speaking of going insane, this costume is way too hot. Get it off! Every time I do one of these videos, I try and do the costume, and it just never works. Alright, so I already gave up on the costume for this episode. That's a good sign. Anyways, today we're talking about Caine. Now, that is too big a picture. Now, Caine is an interesting case, because in the newest episode of The Amazing Digital Circus, he did something that caught everybody's attention. When Regatha was missing a heart at the beginning of the adventure, he created a butterfly. And him being able to do this has led people to think that he is able to do this. It was a bad pun, but the point is, since the beginning of the series, there's been a company in the background called C&A. C&A is, in theory, the company that made the Digital Circus. It was the company that created the game, and supposedly, whatever version of it the characters are now stuck in. Now, C&A was commonly theorized to be a reference to Caine and Abel. That picture's also too big. See, Caine and Abel is a Bible story. The two children of Adam and Eve. The first people, I think. I don't know, I didn't read that book. It was super long. The important part of Caine and Abel is that eventually Caine got so jealous of Abel's favoritism from God that he ended up killing Abel with a rock. Now you might be thinking that this is a pretty shaky connection. However, where's the gun? Where is the gun? That better be the last technical issue I have today. Okay, for those of you who think that this is a bit of a shaky connection based on stuff that we can't know, in episode 6, this gun appeared. Now this gun has written on the side, Caine and Abel. Firmly cementing the direct connection to the Bible story, and of course the fact that this appears in the show where C&A keeps appearing as the default brand name for everything, confirming that C&A stands for Caine and Abel. Now the main thing to extract from this are the two names. Caine and Abel. Now obviously, the name Caine is pretty familiar, which means that Caine has a direct correlation to Caine and Abel, to C&A, and C&A is the company that made The Amazing Digital Circus. Now, The Amazing Digital Circus is once again headed by Caine. So hopefully you're seeing why this connection is pretty sound evidence. Now, Abel. We know nothing about Abel. In my first Amazing Digital Circus video, I theorized that most likely, Abel ended up sending Caine into the game as the role of the Ringmaster. This is why Caine seems like an NPC. He took on the role of Game Master because that was his original purpose. He was the person who created the game. Therefore, when he got put into the game, he had admin control, and that's why he's in charge of creating all the adventures. I theorized that Abel had done this maliciously, purposefully attempting to cut Caine out of the picture so he could take full credit for the Amazing Digital Circus. I was very, very wrong. Or was I? The theory, it seems, was correct. I was just wrong about who it was, because I neglected to read the Caine and Abel story. I probably should have done that. You see, Caine is actually the evil one in this scenario, and he's the one who ends up killing his brother. Aww. Not good. That implies that Caine from C&A is the one who actually trapped Abel in the circus. The reason I didn't bring this up in the original video is because that makes no sense. Caine's in the circus, Abel isn't. So I just chalked that up to their being subversive with the story. But I don't think that's true. Take another look at Caine. Kinger has the ability to create new game rules, something that we have only seen Caine be able to do. Sure, the other characters can take advantage of cartoon physics, but they can't just make things appear out of nowhere. If they could do that, then Jax would have taken full advantage of that. He's the one who uses all of the cartoon physics to his advantage, so it only makes sense that if they could create butterflies or healing or anything like that, like what Kinger did, then Jax would have already taken advantage of that. However, he hasn't, leading me to believe that Kinger is the only one who's able to do this. Now, this power is incredibly interesting, because this power directly makes him related to Caine in the power level that they have. And I can show you for sure, that Caine is definitely Caine from C&A. In episode 6, Caine looks at some pictures. Now, these pictures show this office. This office appeared at the end of episode 1. In this office is the first time we saw the C&A logo. I'll play the scene here. Meaning that Caine looking at these photos directly relates him to the C&A office and the C&A logo. Oh, dang it. I'm gonna get a better marker. Sorry, my phone died and I lost the tape, so now I'm literally going to be using actual pins for the pin board. Minecraft torch will have to do. This is a mess and I'm losing my mind. Okay, the point is, they've both been here a long time. Caine has obviously, in theory, been here since the circus began. And obviously, Kinger is commonly referred to as the one who's... A little bit longer, please. Okay, it's okay. Can you still see it in the camera shot? Yes, you can see it. That's all that matters. Kinger is supposedly the one who's been there the longest, according to Jax and every other character. We also know that Kinger's the closest to going insane. At least, kind of. I mean, Jax is probably going to abstract first, and I have my theories about Caine. Okay, wait, let's touch on that. Caine has been glitching. Caine has been glitching just like you would expect from a character that's going to abstract. Additionally, in Caine's merchandise, you can see that just like every other character, he is an abstracted version of himself inside of the box. I don't know if I'll be able to find a good enough unboxing video. Hopefully I can. If I can't, just trust me on this, I checked. Caine continues to glitch out in episode 6. When he glitches out in episode 6, it's more confirmation that Caine is a human. So if Caine is the human that helped create the circus, then that means that the only other character that can have admin control is Kinger. The only other character who's been there as long as Caine is Kinger. The only other character who could possibly be Abel is Kinger. And the only piece of counter evidence to this theory is that his name isn't Abel. That would be kind of giving away the plot twist way too early. The point is, Kinger is Abel. So I can definitively feel confident in drawing this line. And if Kinger's Abel, that makes me very worried for what's to come. Jax isn't an NPC, admittedly, okay? I'll give up on that theory, alright? I'll let the Jax is an NPC theory go. That's obviously not true anymore. I'm still confident that Caine is a human, and that Kinger is Abel. This is a theory that admittedly most of the rest of the internet agrees with, but I wanted to lay it out here so that you could see beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's super true, with all of these very simplistic visual aids. You guys understand this, right? This isn't complicated or anything, is it? I don't know, it says the conclusion right here. Seems pretty simple to me. Well, I better wrap up the live action segment, both for your sanity, my editing sanity, and because this thing's probably gonna fall over within the next 30 seconds. So, Oh my gosh. So remember, Caine is a human, Caine is Abel, or I'll say is Flowey, and this has been Tater Animations trying to do a YouTube video. Whoa, whoa! The heck? No! No, my hard work! Stop! No! No! Please subscribe! End card time. Yay. This is the wonderful sound quality you can expect from a Tater Animations end card, because I can't upload more than a few videos a month on CapCut. I need a new editing software stat, but until then, I am limited to recording this on the very iPad that I edited on. Otherwise, I'll use up one of my uploads, and then I miss a video. And I don't think you guys want that, and I don't think the algorithm wants that, so stuck with this for now. But I promise the quality will increase, because it's my last week of work. So that means that after this, once I'm back on a school schedule, I'll have a lot more time for the videos, and they will increase in quality, I pinky promise. I'm also thinking of switching to once every 2 weeks, so your feed isn't overwhelmed with just a bunch of, like, videos that you might not necessarily want to watch, if it's not necessarily, like, what you're into. So tell me in the comments if you'd prefer a once every 2 weeks schedule like I had before. And I will be improving quality, so if you want to subscribe, please do. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. Once we reach that, I will give you guys a Discord, and I don't know. People tend to overpromise. I'll make an entire indie show. There we go.